Hello students, this is the second part of the novel Kanthapura, where we are discussing the summary of the book. In the first part, we learnt that an old woman named Achakka is telling the story of the village in South India and its name was Kanthapura. He introduced us to the economy of the place, its geography and its population, that different caste, people of different caste lived there, and they lived in different colonies. So it was basically a caste ridden village and very religious minded people lived there. Now let's continue the story. The protagonist of the novel is a young Brahmin boy. The hero of the novel or the main character of the novel is a young Brahmin boy named Murthy or Murthapa, as the other people calls him. Murthy is a staunch follower of Mahatma Gandhi. One day, some 3 years ago, he found a half buried linga, that is, an idol that represents Lord Shiva, in Achakka's backyard. Achakka is the woman who is telling the story of this village. So, the protagonist found a linga in the backyard of the Achakka and convinced the other Brahmins to clean and build a small shrine for it. So, he convinced other villagers to make a temple for it. In the narrator's words, that is where all the trouble began. So, Achakka also tells us beforehand that some trouble is going to be built around this finding of linga, that is Lord Shiva. This temple known as Kanthapurishwari, and name of the temple was Kanthapurishwari, became the center of social life in the village. This temple became the center of their life. They began religious festivals like Shankar Jayanti. Ramakrishna, the most serene and deep voiced of all the Brahmins, reads the Shankara Vijay Day. Somebody sponsoring dinner for each day of the month. Sometimes there used to be Harikathas. Harikathas means tales of the gods. The poet Shastri delivers Harikathas. Shastri makes the god world feel true and near and brilliant to the Brahmins, and they can watch him perform for hours. When Shankar Jayanti is over, Murthy proposes holding festivals for the gods Rama, Krishna and Ganesh. So, this religious festivity should go on. He suggests this. He collects money for these, which would enable them to bring the best Harikatha men, the men who will tell the story of gods and goddesses from afar, to perform in Kanthapura. So some Harikatha men are called to the village. Murthy continues around the village collecting money, even from the potters, weavers and Shudras. As I told you earlier, that it was a very staunch caste ridden village. So Murthy, who was a Brahmin, he began to go to the doors of even the potters, weavers and Shudras. Achakka, the storyteller, the narrator, worries when she hears Murthy even went to the Pariya quarter. Pariya, who are considered the lowest. So, she was worried when she heard that Murthy, being a Brahmin, he went to the Paria quarter, wondering whether he is one of these Gandhi men who disregard caste. Her worry, her concern was that he might be this modern Gandhi men who are talking about breaking all the rules of caste. How does it affect us? She says to herself, how does it affect us? We shall be dead before the word is polluted. We shall have closed our eyes. The famous Harikatha man Jai Ramachar mixed political propagandas in his kathas. Now the Harikatha man who is called to the village, his name is Jai Ramachar. And what did he do? He used to mix political propagandas in his kathas. He didn't only tell the stories of Ram, Krishna and Ganesh, but he also talked about current politicals, that contemporary politicals going on in those days. Jai Ramachar performs telling stories of Shiva and Parvati permeated with lessons about country and Swaraj. In the stories of Shiv and Parvati, he used to mingle the concept of country and Swaraj. Then he tells the story of Gandhi's birth. He tells the story of Gandhi's birth, that Gandhi is no ordinary human being. He told him, the villagers, that Gandhi was not any ordinary human being. He is Mahatma, a saint, an incarnation of Shiva on earth, sent by Brahma to free India from her enforced slavery. सो इंडिया को दास्ता से मुक्ति दिलाने के लिए शिव का अवतार बनकर महात्मा गांधी ने जन्म लिया था. सो ये प्रोपोगेंडा जय रामाचार he used to mix it in his stories in his tales of gods and goddesses. Jai Ramachar presents Gandhi as divinely ordained from birth to end colonialism. He was sent on this earth by Brahma itself to end colonialism and introduces the key tenets of Gandhism that became the villagers' core beliefs later in the book. And he also, in his stories, in his tales, he introduces the tenets, the basic philosophy of Gandhi's way of fighting to the British. His story offers a religious basis for following Mahatma Gandhi, whom he likens to Shiva, because he knew very well that these religious people can be swayed only through religion and tales of the god and goddess. This implies that the villagers must choose between Gandhi's true stand of Hinduism and the outmoded caste system that supports the colonial government. Foreign government got a wind of this and arrested Jai Ramachar, and finally this propagandist called to village to tell the stories of gods and goddess is finally arrested by the Britishers. The story which Jai Ramachar tells the villager about Gandhi, I would read it from the book. This is the story Jai Ramachar told us. Achakka tells in her words, this is the story Jai Ramachar told us. In the great heavens, Brahma, the self-created one, was lying on his serpent when the sage Valmiki entered, announced by the two doorkeepers, O learned sire, O learned father, what brings you into this distant world? Asked Brahma. And offering the sage a seat beside him, fell at his feet. Rise up. So Valmiki says to praise to God Brahma, rise up, O God of gods, I have come to bring you sinister news. Far down on the earth, you chose as your chief daughter Bharata. So, in the words of Achakka, Bharat is the chief daughter of Brahma, the goddess of wisdom and well-being. You gave her the sage loved Himalaya on the north and the seven surging seas on the south, and you gave her the Gangas to meditate on, the Godavari to live by, and the pure Kaveri to drink in. You gave her the riches of gold and diamonds, and you gave her kings such as the world has never seen. Ashoka, who loved his enemies and killed no animal. Chandragupta, who had the 9 jewels of wisdom at his court, and Vikramaditya and Akbar and many a noble king. And you gave her 2 sages radiating wisdom to the 8 cardinal points of the earth, Krishna and Buddha, Shankar and Ramanuja. But, O Brahma, you who sent us the prince propagators of the holy law and sages that smote the darkness of ignorance, you have forgotten us so long that men have come from across the seas. Here, in the words of Achakka, it is men who have come from across the seas are English people, and the oceans to trample on our wisdom and to spit on our virtue itself. They have come to bind us and to whip us, to make our women die milkless and our men die ignorant. O Brahma, deign to send us one of your gods so that he may incarnate on earth and bring back light and plenty to your enslaved daughter. So here Valmiki says to God, God of gods, Brahma, to send a god, his own incarnation, to save Bharat from this slavery. And O sage, pronounced Brahma, and Brahma announced that, is it greater for you to ask or for me to say, yeah? Shiva himself will forthwith go and incarnate on the earth. Brahma said that Shiva himself will incarnate on the earth and free my beloved daughter from her enforced slavery. And look, when the sage was still partaking of the pleasures Brahma offered him in hospitality, there was born in a family in Gujarat a son such as the world has never beheld, and his name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So here in the story of this Harikatha man named Jai Ramachar, Mahatma Gandhi was the incarnation of good Shiva itself.